Come back to the next video. In today's video I will show you how to use GraphQL Upload in Godot Game Engine for Android. So we will create an Android plugin for it. Now there is some issue in Godot 4.2.1 because for accessing so what I'm doing is that I'm accessing the image library of the user for uploading the image. And for accessing the image library you require the image permission, like the access storage permission. In Godot what happens is that in Godot 4.2 specifically, like up to 4.2, like what happens is that as soon as if you have any runtime permission, that is asked immediately as soon as your app is opened. So I have already given it the permission. This, if you are facing this bug, this will be get resolved in Godot 4.3. If you are still facing this issue in Godot 4.3, do let the Godot authors know. Like I can't really do about it, like there is no bug in my code, that is a bug from the Godot side itself. So I've already given that permission. Now here what GraphQL Uploaded does is that it's basically like uploading a file to AWS S3 or something like that. So that's what I'm doing. I have already created a Node.js. So this is my Node.js backend. So I have already created the Node.js backend for it. A mutation, basically it uploads file to AWS S3 and gives you the pre-signed URL. If you're curious how to do it via Node.js, you can watch my Node.js video for it. So yeah, so this is the output. So if I click on upload, here you can see that it opens the file picker. If I select any of the file, it just gives me an image URL. So this is the image URL for me, like the pre-signed URL from AWS S3. I don't know how to show that, like how to show image from image URL in Godot side. Like I know it for native Android, native iOS and web, but I don't know it for Godot side. Like I know a lot of you might have experience with Godot already, so you might figure that out, because that is out of the scope for this tutorial any which ways. Like this is only about GraphQL Upload. Okay, so once you get the URL, like you can use an HTTP request to download the image and show it inside TextureRect. Like I have tried doing it, but I wasn't able to do it. But anyways, that's not the point of this video. So firstly you will have to create an Android project, create an empty views project or a Jetpack Compose project using Android Studio. Once you do that, you will have to right click on your project, select new module, select Android library, and here you will have to give your library some name. Once you give, so suppose like my library, you can change your package name to whatever you feel like, and then click on finish. Once you click on finish, I have already created this, so you will see something like this. Next you will have to go to build.gradle.kts. First you will have to add this plugin of Apollo 3. At the time of this recording, Apollo 3 is the stable version, but Apollo 4 is already in beta. So if you want, you can try Apollo 4 as well. I don't think there will be any breaking changes as such. Next you will also need to add this bit of code over here, but this should be your plugins package name. So this is your plugins package name, so you can just copy paste it over here as well. And you also have to add this map scalar to upload as well, okay, because that is required for GraphQL Upload. Next over here I have added this Godot dependency. At the time of recording I am using Godot 4.2.1. if you are using some higher version, make sure you update that version as well. Next over here I am using Apollo Kotlin. As you can see, I have added this bit of dependency as well. Once you add this, and if you click on sync now, you will get an error saying that schemas.graphql file not found. To resolve that error, you will have to run this bit of command inside your terminal. So just open the terminal and run this bit of command, but this endpoint should be your own local backend. So mine is hosted on localhost 4000. Make sure you replace this URL with your own backend, and this is the structure where your schemas.graphql file will be downloaded. Once you run this command, and once it's successful, you can just click on sync now, and then you can go to your project drop down, go to your library, go to src main GraphQL, and inside that you will have to go to schemas.graphql, and you should see something like this. If you want, you can also go to Android Studio settings, go to plugins, and here you can just install this GraphQL plugin. This is only for code IntelliSense and highlighting for writing a GraphQL file. Next I have manually created this upload picture mutation.graphql, and I have copy pasted this mutation. Next, once you do that, you just have to click on this hammer icon. So basically what it does, it informs Apollo Kotlin that okay, generate proper code generation and IntelliSense format for this GraphQL mutation. Once you do that, go through the Android drop down again. So here I have created a user client which has an interface for uploading a file. So it takes a file and the string is the pre-signed URL which we get from our Node.js backend, which is like the pre-signed URL from AWS S3. And if you see the Apollo user client, it takes the Apollo client, it implements the user client interface, and here we have, once we get the file, we convert it to upload, which is the method from the Apollo Kotlin itself, and then we just call Apollo client.mutation. We call up our upload profile picture mutation, pass our upload, and we call the execute method. From that we call the data method. Now these parameters will depend on how your backend for your file upload is structured. So this is my output looks like. So we have an upload profile picture, and inside that the profile picture will actually give you the pre-signed URL. Next, here I have created my Godot Android plugin. I am extending from Godot plugin as well as lifecycle owner, and here I have just overridden this boilerplate code for lifecycle owner. This is mostly required for coroutine support. Then I have created two variables, one for requesting the image and one for requesting the access to external storage. And here you can see, if you are using Android T and above, we have to request for read media images, and below Android T we have to request for read external storage. Here I have created our Apollo client and I am passing our server URL. If you are running it on real Android device, make sure you replace localhost with your IP address, and if you are running it on Android emulator, I think you will have to write 10.2.2 something like that. You can Google it. Don't just write localhost, it won't work for you. Then here I have created an OK HTTP client, and here I have just created our OK HTTP client builder. If you have some authorization banner token, you can use something like this. I don't have it for my project, so I have commented it out, and then I have just called the build method for our Apollo client. Next we are creating our Apollo user client as well, and I'm passing our Apollo client. Then here I have defined my plugin. So this name can be anything, but do remember this name because we will be using it in lot of places. Then here I have called get plugin signals. So here I have just this is our signal, so this will help once we get the pre-signed URL from AWS. So using this signal we send that pre-signed URL back to the Godot side from Android. Next, here I have called this upload method. Okay, and once the user calls the upload method, I am first requesting for the permission of access storage. So if the permission is not granted, then I'm just calling this this request image code. Okay, because this is what we are requesting over here. Then so this is bit of boilerplate code for requesting images from external storage, and once it is granted, we are just calling activity.start activity for result, and we pass this request gallery image ID. And this once the user picks an image or does not picks an image, the callback comes over here. And once you get the proper callback, what happens is that you get this you get this image URI, and from this image URI we actually want to get the file path for that particular image. So for that I have written this function. So with the help of this function, you get the file path from the image URI, and once you get the file path, you call the upload file and just pass the file path to this. Okay, so this is just this let keyword is just for null checking. Okay, so here we just call the upload file method, and once we get the signed URL, pre-signed URL, we just send it back to the Godot side. So yeah, that's it for the Godot Android plugin. Next you will have to go to Android manifest.xml. Here I have added 3 permission, one for read media images, read external storage and internet. Also I have copy pasted this from the Godot documentation, and this I have added this bit of code because my Node.js backend is hosted locally. Next I have so here this should be your own package name and this should be your plugin name. So in case you forgot, so I'll show you over here. So this is your package name and this is your plugin name. Okay, this, so just copy paste this, okay, and change the values according to your need, according to whatever you have set. Next you will have to go to project drop down, go to my library, inside that create a folder called export scripts template. Then you have created I have created a file called plugin.cfg. I have literally copy pasted everything from the docs. Only you will have to change this name, the description and author you can change whatever you feel like. Next I have created a file called export_plugin.gd. again I have copied this from Godot docs. Only thing which you will have to change is this plugin name. Also you will have to add this extra bit of method called get android dependency. So we have to also pass this Kotlin coroutines and lifecycle, because the Godot Android build template does not have these files. And we also need this Apollo 3 runtime, because we are making use of Apollo Kotlin. So okay, so these are all things. Next you will have to go to your terminal, and then go to your Android project, and here cd to your, and you will have to copy this bit of command. Okay, so just run this command inside your terminal. Once you run this command, if you go to your Android project, go to your library, build, outputs, AR, and here you should see 2 AR files being generated. I have already copied those files to my Godot project, that's why you are not seeing it over here. Next just create your Godot project. Inside that create a folder called add-ons. Inside that create a folder called with your plugin name. Inside this plugin folder create a bin folder, and inside bin create 2 folder, debug and release. Now copy the debug AR file to the debug folder and release AR file to the release folder. So I'll show you that as well, because we'll have to change the name as well. So over here you can see I've copied the debug file. The name has been changed to whatever is your plugin name -debug.ar. Similarly for release as well, whatever is your plugin name -release.ar. Then inside your my plugin folder I have also copied these 2 files, export plugin.gd and plugin.cfg. So if you see, I have just copied these 2 files to my Godot project. Next you will have to do project, click on install Android build template. I have already done that. Then click on export, click add Android. Then you will have to select use Gradle build. Also make sure you check this for architecture if you don't know what architecture your Android device is running on. And next you will have to go to project settings, go to plugins, and make sure you check this checkbox as well. And over here inside I have just taken a VBox container, a button as well as a label. And if you see over here, I was trying to do this HTTP request with this image texture thing, but it wasn't really working for me. Like I'm not really good at Godot. But if you see the script, like I have just attached one script to our Node 2D. So this should be your plugin name. Again, this is not required. I was trying to do it, couldn't really figure it out. But once ready method is called, I'm just initializing our plugin as well as connecting our signal. And once our button pressed is called, I'm just calling the upload method. And once you get this pre-signed URL, I'm just updating our label as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.